hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm waiting. I'm a little late, 7 minutes, and thank God I am 7 minutes late because I'm still waiting. Happy Saturday, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Hello, 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 hello. I know it's a Saturday. It's a beautiful Saturday. It's June the 22nd, 2024. It's 2:08 p.m. here in Lake Nona in Florida, Orlando, Florida. It's a beautiful, beautiful Saturday that the Lord has made. And I'm here. Hi, Sheila. Always. Thank you, She. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How are you? Karibu sana. Man, you're my greatest supporter. I tell you that. I tell you that. That's serious. Huh? How are you? Beautiful Saturday. Yes, welcome, Phil. Welcome. Tag people, tag people, tag people. Tag your friends, the ones who are following this. I have had a lot of inboxes about my live. Thank God I was able to motivate. I didn't know. I never write these things down. They just here, you know, my memory. I always say that I know two people with elephant memories. And apparently my life also, I lived it, right? I lived it. So this is not a script. I'm not reading it from anywhere. It is all in here. It's before God takes my memory away. So that's why some of the things, you know, you just want them to be out there. And again, like I said last time, for all that tuned in last time, I thank you so much, so much. It has been wonderful. We have had over 1,200 views of my video, my first, the story of my life, We've had over 1,200 views already. That's huge because I had not advertised it. I had not said anything. I don't have such a huge following. Oh, I don't know what that is. I have 48 hours left. I don't know who that is. Anyway, whoever you are, as long as you're not Mera, then that's fine. Anyway, good afternoon. My name is Marjorie Wanjiko Bernard. I love being called Marge. Everybody calls me Marge. And I am here to share part 2 of my story of living with rejection. Like I said, my part 1 was just how my life started, how everything went on, how I ended up being a single mother of a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful baby. You know, the first gift that God ever gave me was life, right? And a wonderful parent. That is my mother. Of course, I don't downplay those ones. But then this is that gift that God had me carry a life for him. So that is why I always say, like, my first precious gift, because that was like my first assignment from God. Let me put it that way, was my daughter, right? And you're wondering what went on after my first rejection. There's a song that I like very much I listened to it. And it's by a group in Kenya. Well, I'm Kenyan, so every time I speak something, I refer to a Kenyan group, a Kenyan artist. Many times, of course, I listen to other music. But there's a group called Sauti Sol. And they sang about Mungu yuko na sahani ya kila mtoto. And I love that song because I can really relate to that song really well. My baby was born. Here I am, nimepoteza kazi, sina kazi, janta imepotea, imekatika, na nimetemo. And I have a baby to feed, and I had a maid to pay salaries, and I had my life to go on. But guess what? What you should never do when something like that happens is give up. Actually put on your gloves, your boxing gloves, and get on the ring, get on the arena. And this whole time when my baby was small, suckling, I mean, that was, first of all, the most, motherhood is just so beautiful. I look at them now already grown. I still see those babies, kinda. And I hate to do it because they're adults now. But, every time I look at them, I just remember where it all started. And so what I didn't do when all shit hit the fan with me being now dumped and being a single mom and looking at this baby and wondering what life had in store for us. What I did not I did not give up. One, I did not give up on my God. Two, I knew I have to get back into the arena. I have to get back into the work front. I have to be in the workforce. And I went back to school. So when I got my baby, when I got my daughter, that whole time now I'm at home, breastfeeding, I'm just a mom and everything. 6 months later, I went back to school. And people who know me, I'm very good in IT. And that is one of the things that I went back in there and I said, this is it. And that is just when computers we had just started all these softwares. Microsoft had just started. We had DBase, Lotus, WordPerfect, all Access, all those things. I became a guru. I went to college and I just trained myself in books. And specified in IT. I became so good in computer operations. I became so good in database, in DOS programming. I became so good because I knew now I'm home, I have a baby, kazi mekatika, but man, how do I even face tomorrow? If I just decide to just relax there and wait, it wasn't going to work for me. So I went back and I studied so hard and I excelled. All my papers, if you look at all my papers, it was A. I aced everything. Man, being a mom and studying, man, it was the best thing because it was so rewarding. And going forward, baby's growing, I got a job opportunity where my mom was working. I was offered a job. This is when we had 1992 land clashes in the Rift Valley, and this was sorry, I have a cold, and this was the burnt forest, and I got a job as a field coordinator with the National Council of Churches of Kenya, and we were working in conjunction with the Dutch government. And man, with my expertise, they loved me. They put me up in a hotel in Eldoret. It was called White Castle Hotel. I don't know whether it is still there, and that I was working in the field and staying at the White Castle. And man, I gave LCCK and the Dutch government what they needed. I was so good in my job. Everybody loved me. Those Mzungus loved me. My employers loved me, and oh, it was wonderful. And so there I was making good money. And of course, now I'm separated from my baby, and I love her so much. But my mom is there, my maid is there, and the baby, And I used to call all the time, and at times she doesn't even understand what I'm saying. And it was such an emotional time because one, it was we were having problems in Kenya. The clashes were on. And then it was raining all the time in Eldoret. It was super depressing. And even where you go into the fields and all that. But I tried to brave it on and I held in there. you know. But then being out there, you know, there's all politics at work. You know, people are some people are not. Some people don't have integrity. As much as they are working in a Christian organization, they were stealing left, right, and center. And to me, I really have this conscience. And I felt, okay, I'm supposed to be helping these victims in the field, and people are stealing fertilizer and selling elsewhere. And I started, you know, being in a bad place with this, you know, the clique. I was not in the clique. I was not stealing. Me, I was there to work and deliver. And the clique was there to enrich themselves. So I said, you know what, me, I'm going to Nairobi. This, first of all, is not even... You know, I had done so much, I had gained so much experience, but then we are not delivering. People are stealing fertilizers. And here I am also missing my child and saying, I can't handle this. So before I quit my job with them, I had applied for a job that I saw in the newspaper. Now, let me tell you something. There's God in heaven. There's God in heaven. So there I am in Eldred. I'm like, man, I can't handle this. There's so much corruption going on. We are supposed to be helping the land clash victims. And here people are stealing blankets, selling. People are stealing fertilizers and hose, the majembes. What wanaiba? So I'm like, I don't want to be caught up in a scandal. But I decided I'm quitting. I'm going back to Nairobi to be with my child. Jericho tena narudi. Na kamshara kangu kadogo. And I didn't know where else. But I had applied for a job. So I went home. I was dropped by my boss. He was called Vadegom, Van Vadegom. I wouldn't say the first name, but Vadegoms are many, I'm sure, in Holland. And when he dropped me, you know, I told him, you know, I don't think I'll be going back. I just want to concentrate raising my child. But because, you know, I was just not getting along with the theft. I mean, you have a conscience. You want the best for your child who God has given you, and now you are witnessing. We are going to give relief food to what wanauza, majembe wanauza, fertilizer wanauza, blanketi wanauza, and all these are supposed to be given to victims of land clashes. So I said, I'm distancing myself. I have a conscience. I'm a Christian person with a deep understanding and faith in God. I'm not going to be part of this theft. And I wasn't very popular because of that. So I quit my job, went back to Jericho, to my baby. But I had some little money, of course, now. I was working. And by this time, my baby was just about, she was about, I would say, maybe about a year and a half, if I'm not wrong. She was a year and a half. We had a nice birthday party, very beautiful birthday party. And now she was a year and a half. And here I am, back home. So a few days later, in the evening, life as usual, you try to look for work, you know. And you at least you have you have the money that you made. You're holding it so tight because you don't know where your next job is coming from. But like I said, my mom was and is up to now my greatest support system. Prayers, everything. My mom, my mom, and God just bless that woman and give her grace. And man, she's an angel in this earth, in my life. So I'm there one day watching TV in the evening. It's close to 6 o'clock in the evening, and the phone, landline, those are the days of the landline. The landline rings, and my maid picks up the phone, and somebody's asking for Marjorie. And everybody who calls will be calling and asking for Marge. Now somebody is calling for Marjorie, and actually he said both names. So like, my maid said, hey, this one. I said, well, if he asked me for, and I sound, this sounds like a Mzungu. I said, Mzungu, okay. Maybe it's my bosses from you know, the Netherlands, who maybe want to talk to me, maybe were persuading me to go back to work. Because like I said, I was so good in my job. But no, it was not my bosses from the Netherlands, but it was a Mzungu. My maid was right. And his name was Dr. Richard Wilding. Dr. Richard Wilding. And may he rest in peace. Dr. Richard Wilding was the headmaster at Peponi School, P.O. Box 236, Ruiru. Peponi School, PO Box 236, Ruiru, was owned by the very, very first family of the Republic of Kenya. That is Jomo Kenyatta's family. Yeah, you're talking about, sorry, I have a cold, guys. You're talking about Uhuru. Okay, let's start from the top. Christina, and then there's Uhuru, and then there's Nyokabi, and then there's Mohoho. And their mom is called Mama Ngina Kenyatta. So Dr. Wilding works for this family. And the job I'd applied for, Dr. Wilding was calling to interview me for the position. He interviewed me for the position, spoke to me. Oh my God, the guy loved me. He said, you've passed the first session of the interview, the interviewing process. We will invite you over to Peponi School to come for an interview with the other panel. You know, we have other finalists, but I think I don't want to, you know, lose you and also keep in suspense. You might get another job and I don't want that to happen, and I want you to come like right away. What is your address? Now your address, how do you give your address? This is a Mzungu who's never been to Jericho now, you know. So he told me, I tried to explain, he said, oh, you know what? I just know where the city stadium is. Everything else I really don't know. Why don't I just get my driver to talk to you? Our transport manager to talk to you, and then we'll coordinate which driver is going to be sent over to you so that they can bring you over to Ruiru, because it's also a long distance, quite a stretch walking from the main gate to where the school is. It's huge. It's a huge farm, Sukari Ranch, you know, huge, huge, huge. So that is where still Brookside Milk is, Peponi School. Team Sales is across the road. You know, they donated Jomo Kenyatta University. That land was donated by Mzee Kenyatta. Sukari, Kahawa Garrison, all that was their portion, but that was their land. Well, how they amassed the wealth, it's none of my business. But now here I am. I've been given an opportunity to go and interview with the big bosses at Peponi School as an executive assistant, you know, a personal assistant, as a personal assistant to Dr. Richard Wilding, who was the overall boss besides the first family. So there I was. The driver, we agreed, the driver came. Share this video. Hey, share. If you are here, you share this video. Or call your friends, tag them, tell them to come in and listen to God. So listen to how God works. God works in, oh. So 2 days later, a driver comes. He calls, of course, we are coordinating on the phone. He came, picked me up. And when he picked me up, he was, you know, telling me how, you know, so many people were interviewed for that position. And you know, Dr. Richard Wilding says how excited he is to meet me in person. Like I sound like a very good person. But then he says, oh my God, and he's so right. You are such a nice young girl. Man, I was only 24. So we went to, of course, I said my daughter was about 1.5. Now she's almost 2 years old. Actually, she had just turned 2. So I was 24. So there we are, drove to Peponi, Broadway, Yom Teremko, ya KU, Nani, Team Sales on the left, we turned to the right. A road I always used to pass, you know, going those sides, Gishagi or something. But I never noticed this school. You know. But I was like, wow, I pass here all the time. I never seen this. I seen these buildings here, but I didn't know. Wow, getting in there, that was just, woo, what a big operation. What a big operation. So I was like, is this where I'm going to be interviewed? God, where did you bring me? Where did you bring me? I never even imagined I'd be passing gates like these ones. And everywhere, because I was in the boss's car, the ears security, also owned by the first family, they were just saluting this car, you know. And when we went to the main gate, of course, they had to roll down the windows because of security and everything. And at the back, I was asked to identify myself. Then the driver said, no, just call Daktari. That's Dr. Wilding. Call Daktari. He's expecting, this is Daktari's guest, you know. and boom, no ID, no nothing, VIP all the way. Look at God, man. So I went, met the administrator who was there. She was British. I met the colonel who in charge of security. He was British, former British Army. I met another colonel who became a very close friend of mine, Colonel Gakuo. He was Kenya Army, retired, you know. And I went in for an interview. Man, the interview, man, it was tough. I was like, oh shit. Oops, excuse me, friend. I was like, oh boy, am I going to top this one? Man, what? And there were other 3 people also there being interviewed. Yeah, so I had to wait for my turn. When I went in, God had gone there before me. Man, God had gotten into that interview room before me. Everybody was just taking notes, looking up and smiling. Taking notes, looking up and smiling. The interview that was supposed to be like 15 minutes was like an hour. Now we're even talking. Even they're asking me, do you have your baby's pictures? Because now I'm even telling them, I'm a mom, she's 3 years old. Now we've even started getting to that. And let me tell you, when you go to an interview, first of all, go walk with God. Secondly, be your authentic self. Be authentic. Usiende hapo look at this person or these people and be authentic. Don't search for words. Just let it flow. When you start searching for words, that means you're thinking of crafting a lie. Let it flow. Be authentic. And being authentic, you will flow. So they asked me all these questions. I gave them all these answers. Back now, even I had my little, we didn't have phones, but I had my little baby's picture. And when she was really young, in a red spotted dress, that picture is here, even up to now. I love it so much. And then I also had her birthday picture where she was blowing her cakes. I also had that, the 2 pictures that I was working with. And they were sharing the pictures. Oh, look at Favor, like a baby. Like a baby. Everybody's like, oh, she's so cute. Oh, look at her. Oh, you know, they fell in love with the baby. So anyway, thank you for interviewing with us. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. But before you go, because it's now almost lunchtime, why don't we go so you can have a feel of, just in case you're offered this position, you can have a feel of our dining area, how it operates and all that, because all the staff and all the international students, if you know Peponi School, it's an international school where the who's and whose children go to. You're talking of school fees at the time, there was like that time was about 250,000 Kenya shillings. Right now maybe it's, that's many years, over 30 years ago, maybe now it's maybe 1.5 or something, I don't know, 2 million. That's way back. It was 250, 275 then at the time. So they said, okay, you know, we'll introduce you. I'm wondering, why am I being introduced? I just interviewed with these people. Oh, Kanogako, you want to take her around, introduce her to faculty? I'm like, well, I don't know, it will be sad to walk, because now we are walking kidogo as we walk into the dining. So I'm like, and I'd want to heels, and you know, if you know me, I'm knock-kneed. So I was like, oh, okay. Now it will be very sad to walk this far and not get this job. I'm being introduced to people, and I don't know even whether I'm going to get the job. Yeah. So we walked. I was introduced to the house matron. I was introduced to the they call them house parents. British. That school has British teachers, American teachers. I think the Kenyan teachers maybe 4. There was Simani, there was Pecos, he died. There was Ngatia, a lady, and the house parent, I can't remember her name. There were 4, and now Kanogaku 5. So I'm like, okay. Everybody, of course, the guys doing the fields and the security guys are all black, and the kitchen staff. But the main chef is also British. He was called Satan, I remember. Not Satan, the Saitani. It is Sutton. Oh, and there was also the receptionist. She was called Naomi. Yes, I almost forgot that. And of course, we had the people who were doing photocopy and all that. So I was introduced to all these people, going. Finally, to the dining area. Dining area, I'm told, just walk around, whatever you want. It's a buffet. Anything you want. I'm like, oh my God. Now, this is, I hope, God, I get this job. I mean, it was so beautiful. So after lunch, the driver came to the dining area. I finished my lunch. By that time, Dr. Wilding also had joined. The big boss who was looking for a personal assistant. Also had joined me for lunch with Kanogaku, Kanokupa, you know. And he introduced me to his wife, Mrs. Wilding, Libby. I hope one day, I hope she sees this. And his sons, Christopher and David, you know. It was really nice. And after that, the driver came, took me, picked me up, dropped me, and on the way he said, Dr. Wilding said, if you want to buy anything, you know, like stop around and shop, you have the driver, as long as he's here before 5 o'clock. Like, wow, I'm even being given a driver to go and shop for what? Lasina pesa. What Dr. Wilding gave me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. That time there were 1. Gave me 500. I'm like, I've been interviewed. Well, I guess it went well. Well, I guess. And then I've been paid to attend an interview and to go. And I guess that was what they saw. A single mom, very young, 24. And I think that is why he was so kind to me and gave me the 500 to go and shop. Well, I told the driver, let's stop at Broadway. I need to buy some bacon, some sausages for my baby, you know. And that's what we did. And off we went. He dropped me home, you know. And when I went home, my mama, later in the evening when she came, she asked me, how did the interview go, my daughter? And I said, hey, I'm so puzzled. This guy is, wow, they picked me up. Well, the panel was huge. I'm being told Colonel so-and-so British Army retired, Colonel so-and-so Kenya Army retired. I don't know, me, the people I'd seen there before me, I don't think I'm getting this job, mommy. I don't think I'm getting this job. So we sat down with mom. Mom said, let's pray. If the job is yours, and that is the same term I use with my children. I always say, if God wants you to have that job, it's yours. Nobody's going to take it from you. And that's the same thing my mom told me. My mom said, let us pray about that job. If it's yours, it's yours. If it's not, well, God knows what is in store for you. So we prayed. We had, the baby had her sausages, you know. We had our, I bought a kanyama, so we ate a kanyama that I'd been given 500 by Dr. Wilding to go home and shop. So, hey, we had a nice dinner. And it was on a Thursday, of course. No, it was on a Wednesday. So Thursday, no phone call. Oh, I was like, oops, okay, there we go. The job is not mine. Friday, oops, no phone call. I'm like, okay. I went hanging out with my cousins on Saturday. I was like, oh yeah, I interviewed for this job. But I guess I didn't get it because they didn't call me Thursday and they'd say they would let me know like as fast as, they make the decision. And it looked like they needed to fill up this position really urgently. And Thursday, Friday, I've not heard from them. So I told, of course, they're not going to call me on Saturday. Lie. Saturday they called. Me, I'm with my cousins. Who picks up the phone? My maid picks up the phone. My maid picks up the phone and she's like, oh, she's not here. Hayuko? Message? She didn't take the message correctly. So me, when I come back in the evening, she's telling me, by the way, you had a few phone calls. Of course, it wasn't the only call I got. From friends too. You had a few phone calls, but there's this one that mimi sikushika, sikujua anasema nini. Like, whatever. Okay, sawa. Sunday, no phone call. Monday, no phone call. Tuesday, phone call. Guess who? Hi, Marjorie. This is Dr. Richard Wilding. I just wanted to congratulate you. We have decided to move forward with you, and we are offering you a position of a personal assistant at Peponi School, P.O. Box 236, Ruiru. You'll be my personal assistant. Mimi, I have just gotten a job. Thank you, Jesus. Guess what? this job I have been offered, they are paying me 4 times, nalipwa mshahara 4 times what I was earning working in the fields for NCCK during the land clashes. 4 times. Look at God. Yani mimi, I was already budgeting na kale kamshahara nilikuwa napewa ka NCCK. Yeah? And it was okay. This time, I've been offered a job 4 times that salary, NCCK. 4 times. Yani, unakaa hivi. I remember my mom asking me, what are you going to do with all that money? What are you going to do with all that money? Eh? My sister, who was a banker at the time, asked me, Marge, what are you, my God, how much wacha mchezo bana? I was offered salary 4 times what I was earning at NCCK to work for the first family, that is the Kenyatta family, at their school, Peponi School, P.O. Box 236, Ruiru. That was my big moment, my break. Now, you say that there is no God. Wala usema there is no God. Listen here, man. God is there. Don't you ever ask yourself, mali sahani ya mtoto wako itatoka. Don't ever doubt God's presence in your life. That when you put you get on your knees and seek Him and tell Him to open doors. Yani one window will close and God will open a wide door for you. And He did that for me. So I got my first job. I mean, not my first job, my first huge break. That is working for the Kenyatta family at their school. That is Peponi School, an international school. They own Peponi School. They own the other Peponi down in somewhere around Westlands, that area, Lavington. Yep. So there I am. Wow. Guess what? Besides being offered this salary, because I wasn't driving, I've been offered a driver. Hey, sasa mimi hata mimi naendanga mimi demu ajeri naendanga sasa na driver. Nakuja kuchukuliwa asubuhi. Tunaenda hivyo Ruiru, naingia jioni hivyo driver home. Then now I started working. I was trained by the British lady, the administrator who was there. Her name was Cook. Yeah. And she trained me. But as she was training me, she was doing administration a different way, but in a different type of administration. So she trained me, but I was her boss. Can you see God? Mimi sasa mimi ngozi nyeusi nimewekwa uko juu uko. Eh? At even Anne, if she wants to see Dr. Wilding, she has to ask me, Marge, can I see him? Eh? Akina Christina, when they come for meetings, akina Christina, akina Nyokabi Kenyatta, and Christina Pratt. Christina, Nyokabi is called Modhama. Nyokabi Kenyatta Modhama. You know? They're coming for meetings. They pass hapo, ndio waingie mkutano. Yeah? Me, I'm the one who is coordinating. Hey, bosses are here. From the gate, they are calling me. The Kenyattas are coming for a meeting. So I know they are coming. I get my boss ready. When they come in, I'm the one who knows what they'll have, if there are biscuits to be brought from the kitchen, hot tea, all that, get them ready, you know. And I was good at what I did. And Nyokabi really liked me because she has a gap like me, so she really liked me. I think she used to look at me and see her younger self. Eh? Talk of favor, man, favor. Eh? Sasa mimi, I was at Kasingo mama, kale kalijiltiwa, kale kalitupwa. My wicked cousin, who went and told the father of my baby that your pregnancy sio yako. Your pregnancy sio yako. So now I was supposed to hang huko kwa mata huko, me and my baby, and cry. But look at God now. Look at God. Now even this cousin of mine with her so-called tour driver husband or boyfriend, the money they were making collectively, they could not make mine. Me, nothing close, man. Nothing. That was God trying to show me. Psalms 23. It was the beginning of Psalms 23 in my life. Of course, my life goes up and down, up and down, up and down. I had the first rejection. And of course, now I have this beautiful job. And because I used to work a lot, at times I used to work, oh my God, at times I used to even be in the office until 10 o'clock. So by the time the drivers are called, some of them even have gone home. They are being called back to work to come and pick me up from Ruiru and drop me all the way to Jericho. And we sat down with my boss, and my boss said, Marjorie, can you kindly reconsider where you live? It's risky for the drivers to go that far to pick you up, to drop you off after a long day at work. Can you just reconsider? Is there a possibility of you living in Ruiru? I told him, Dr. Wilding, why? Yeah, I'll move. When do you? Hey, you don't say that. When do you want me to move? I will move. We will look for a house. He said, oh yeah, I will get my, Kanogako is going to help you to look for a house. We'll get a house, and we will, whatever it takes, we will facilitate. Hey, my boss, man, Dr. Wilding, rest in peace, man. So there was Dr. Gakuo, me and Dr. Gakuo. Now we are doing an evening after. Now he's the one who drops me home, because once we finish with work, we go to Ruiru. Then there was a Ruiru Ndanga hotel, and then the apartment I got was not very far from the prisons, Ruiru prisons, and it was the only 3-story apartment. Here ilikuwa kubwa, that area. And I'm sure right now, if I went to that area, I wouldn't remember. But there was a lot of refugees from I remember from Sudan that were my neighbors. It was like a building full of refugees. Yeah. So, to cut the long story short, I got a house. Peponi School gave me a whole bus and a car to go and help me move. Now, remember, I only have my clothes, my baby coat, and some books, nothing. I even bought some buying as we go. Even I remember the bed that day when I was moving to Ruiru. Kariobangi, I told the drivers, hey, stop there, we buy that bed. Stop there, we buy that bed. I didn't even have a bed, I moved to my house, and I only had now myself, of course, my God, myself, my little baby, who came with so much luck. Oh my God. And my maid. My maid, I remember she was called Angeline. This was in 1994. Okay? So there I am. I'm playing the big girls league. I'm wearing the big boys pants even. My role, my job, man, was not a joke. Peponi School, I thank the Kenyatta family for giving me that opportunity to also rediscover my potential, because I learned a lot working in that family, within that family. They were starting Brookside Milk at the time. Mr. Wadhaka was the one heading Brookside Milk. I learned a lot. Dr. Wilding taught me a lot. I was just their little baby. They cradled me, and to be the professional person that I am today. I must say they opened a big door for me to discover my potential, and to know that I can dine with kings. Because when you're so closed out, growing up in Jericho, you don't see very, very far. Yeah, but here I got an opportunity now. Working at Jomo Kenyatta was an exposure. I got that one all right. But now this one, I actually sit down in meetings and take minutes. And distribute the minutes. I distribute agendas. Prior to that, I organize these big bosses. The first family, you're talking about, it's huge. All these Muzungus, all these ambassadors who are bringing their children to the Peponi School. I am interacting with all these people one-on-one. And I got to, that was God. God just wanted to mold me, he's the greatest potter in my life, I say that. He just wanted to mold me, to prepare me, because I was so closed out. Never limit yourself, guys. If you're watching this, never, ever, ever limit yourself and say, man, I don't think I can do that. No! Say you can. Let God do the rest. And me, even when I was given that job, I remember asking my mom, guy, will I make this one? Will I? Mom told me, you will just pray. The rest, let God. And that's true. Let God lead the way. Yeah, you take it. Don't ever shortchange yourself. Tell God, man, you know what? Me, I'll say yes because I know you're going to do it for me. I'll take that opportunity. Don't say, oh, maybe, I don't know. No, say you can do it. And that's what happened. I said I can do it. And man, I rolled with the punches. So here we are. We've moved to our new house with my daughter. Man, the little girl now is speaking fluent Sudanese. She's speaking fluent Sudanese, my baby. You know, kids really grab languages pretty fast, pretty fast. Yes, God is faithful, Catherine Mimano, welcome. That's my cousin, my first cousin. She's an older sister of mine. Thank you. Yes, God is very faithful. So my little girl is now speaking fluent Sudanese. I come from work, man, this girl is asking me something like in Sudanese. I'm like, what the heck did this child say? Bells started going off. Ding, 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 ding. Sudanese hatutafanya. We are not going to learn Sudanese. You are going to school for French. And at the age of just about 2 1/4, my daughter started going for French classes. 2 1/4. She used to go to Alliance Française. Yes, on Saturdays. You see, again, now I've started seeing my daughter. God shows you. This kid who's speaking all these Sudanese. Where are we going to use this Sudanese now? So, an idea just came. If she can learn Sudanese so fast, how about she learns something that is going to help her later in life? And French, she went. She did French. She's very fluent in French, even now. She speaks fluent French. She speaks fluent Spanish. She speaks a little bit of Arabic. She speaks Swahili, little Kikuyu. But today, that's what she is. She's very good in French, right? Because you have to take your children, take that extra step for them. Anyway. And you have to advocate for your children. You'll hear me talking about advocating for your children a million times. I'm a firm believer in that. So there I am in Ruiru, new job, living a good life. Who can guess what happened next? That's right. I let somebody in my life. We used to work together at Jomo Kenyatta. And to me, he was a very nice, tall, lean, macho-ine guy. I knew him when I was working there. We didn't have anything. Then we meet several years later, and boom, he's in my life. Actually, he was in my life even the day I was moving to Ruiru. He came to help me move. He was such a good person. Such a good person. Very supportive. Remember, I just had work and my daughter. Now I let this person come into my life. When I moved to Ruiru, I let this person come into my life. I introduced him to my little girl. And he used to travel back and forth from Nairobi to Ruiru. At times he would leave. He would even take taxis because he didn't have a car. He just sold his car. So he would take a taxi from Jomo Kenyatta Airport. He worked for Lufthansa Airlines. He would take a taxi from Jomo Kenyatta Airport all the way to Ruiru. Can you imagine how much money he was spending? Just to come and see me and the girl. And when you have that kind of a person, man, you're like, wow. I remember there was 1 or 2 other people who were trying to pursue me. And even at the time, my quote-unquote sweetheart, who I had talked about, who's my best friend now. But man, this one won the battle. He didn't have to convince me for too long. And soon, he was in Ruiru more than he was in his house. He was paying for his house in Uhuru Phase 4, Aka Extension. The same place. The mom lived in the same roundabout main house, and him lived in another house extension. So he was never even in his house. Many times he was never even in his house. He was always work and Ruiru. So he sat down one day and said, man, Marge, this has become so serious. How about we just look for a neutral place? We live together. And I looked at him, we were so serious. And at times in the morning, he would try to make it from Ruiru. Now, I didn't have a driver because I lived now in Ruiru. There was no need for a driver. So we would walk towards the matatu place. And at times, it was so tough. At times, he would get into the matatu through the window, the back window, and for him to make it to Nairobi and get to work in the evening. He used to work a lot in the evening. Well, of course, the Lufthansa flights come at night and leave at night, right? So, leave at night. He was doing departures. Well, we decided we were going to try and live together. And I let this man into my life, into our lives, because I had this little baby. And she really loved him. And so did he. He was such a nice person. And I let him into our lives. And from Ruiru, we got a house together in a place at the time had just started out. It was called Tena Estate. Tena Estate people had just started building those plots there. So we got, a double-story home, a flat. We call them flats. And we got a house. And I remember that apartment of ours, we had 2 fridges. We had 2 of everything. Because he had his house, I had my house. He had, so he had a fridge, I had a fridge. He had a color TV, I had a color TV. He had a video thingy. That those days we used to watch videos, VHS. You push the thing in and you watch a movie, yeah? So we had 2 of everything. 2 of everything. It was a 2-bedroom house. So we moved into this house and we got a 2-bedroom because we had the maid. We had our daughter. Of course, they were going to sleep in the same bedroom. And then, of course, now me and him, we became an item, and we started living together. And then he said he wanted to marry me, and we arranged the usual, he's Kikuyu, so the usual Kikuyu stuff went on. The negotiations went on, and the families met. They were given officially, and in the process of negotiating for my hand in marriage, the Kikuyu custom during my negotiations, he also had to adopt my daughter as his very own. Okay, so which happened. So this was 1995 now. 1990, yeah, it's 95. This happened really quick, really quick. From me living in my house in Ruiru to him pushing. He actually gave 10 months. In 10 months, he said, 10 months, we should have a wedding. 10 months. 10 months. He lived in Nairobi. I lived in Ruiru. 10 months. I don't know what he does in Nairobi. I only know he lives in Nairobi. I used to, his social life, I know he's working. Girls, red flag right there. Somebody akikuharakisha sana. Tufanye, within 6 months we have to do this. We have to get married 6 months. Don't get too excited. I got excited. Why did I get excited? Because I was even getting married in church. Hello, white wedding. White wedding. It was a big deal. Remember the guy who tupanished me, alioana kanisani. So even me now this time, kwanza yangu, his was not big. Mine was. I was planning, a big one. A big one. Join me next week. Join me next week. I know I said I'll only be doing an hour. We are almost there. We're almost there. We're almost doing that 1 hour. I came in at 2:07. But next week, I will tell you about my journey. Yes, we did get married. Big wedding it was. beautiful wedding it was. There was only one embarrassing thing, that a drunk uncle of mine, you know those drunk uncles, he embarrassed me, and he insulted. Long story. It's going to be in my book. You will read about that one, because his uncle happens to be my mother's brother, and I don't want to rattle my mom. She loves her brother, her baby brother, so much. But it was very embarrassing. And I remember when we went after the wedding, in the reception, evening party, we found that he had been restrained somewhere, put at a corner, because it was so embarrassing, super embarrassing. But there's an episode, there's a story about that, and how I actually permanently fell off with my uncle. Not because of that incident, but other things that happened. So, we got the wedding. We were given a wedding date. We went for counseling. Remember, it was Provost Peter Njenga. Now I think he's a bishop or archbishop, if I'm not wrong. The church was All Saints Cathedral, Nairobi. The guests were wonderful. People came. We had a beautiful wedding. Our wedding cake was made by Mrs. White. Pastor White was the sitting pastor at Valley Road Pentecostal Church. So his wife is the one who made our wedding cake, a three-tier wedding cake, beautiful, with a lot of wine. I think guys got a bit high. But it was a beautiful, beautiful wedding. All Saints Cathedral, the glam, the Mercedes Benzes. I mean, I thank all my friends who pulled through. Akina Tony Gashoka, they came blazing their Mercedes Benzes. I mean, I had good friends, man. They came in. Things were beautiful. I had a beautiful, 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 big, beautiful church wedding. My little girl was crying. Man, she was crying in church. I remember one of my cousins had to just take her out of church so that at least we can finish the exchange of vows. You know, she didn't know what was happening. All these people here, my mom, you know, yes, I'm like a flower girl, but reaching there, it's like they're so serious. What is happening? I've never seen my mom so serious like that. And mom is crying, you know, as she's exchanging vows. But this time she had started calling the guy daddy, you know. And yeah, we got married. We got married. And we had our reception at KCB Sports Club. My cousin Aki, thank you, Kathy. She worked for KCB at the time, and she was one of the people who organized for us to get the reception venue at KCB Sports Ground in Ruaraka. And the evening party was also at the same place. We went to Mayfair. Thank you, Mayfair. That was a beautiful reception area for the committee that worked that wedding. Man, guys, even if the marriage never worked, it was a beautiful wedding. I mean, it was such a beautiful wedding. We had so much fun, so much fun. So here I am, married with one child. Honeymoon, we went for a beautiful honeymoon in South Africa. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful honeymoon. We stayed in Johannesburg. We went to Cape Town. I fell in love with Cape Town. Beautiful honeymoon. You only wish the honeymoon could last forever, right? Well, join me next week. We will talk more. The honeymoon did not last forever. There's a lot more coming in next week. My part 3. But before I go, I want to share a paragraph here with you. I'll share one paragraph with you, and then I will also read scripture. That's how I roll. I want to tell you something based on what you've heard so far about my life. This is a part 2. There's still more. There's still more. There's a little bit of this. There's a little bit of that. You can see that God is speaking. God is guiding me. Because some things have happened in my life, and I'm like, what? What? And you'll hear more. Now, even Peponi was just a drop in the ocean, a drop in the ocean. Many other things came, many opportunities, many people I've met. Man, there's God. Anyway, this is what I want to share. When a train goes through a tunnel and it gets dark, you don't throw away the ticket and jump off. You sit still and trust the engineer. Guess who the engineer is? Jehovah God. Jehovah God. Okay? I'll leave you with this verse. My God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. That is the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 19. My God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. I'll leave you with that, guys. I'll leave you with that. That was the part 2 of my story. Part 3 will be coming in same time on Saturday. Only that this time, next Saturday, I hope I'll not be having this cold. And next Saturday, I will be in Dallas. I'll be in Dallas, Texas. I'm going there for an event. And I will probably be doing my live somewhere. I'll try and do it in my hotel room. I'll try. I'll be at the Hilton in Dallas, Texas next Saturday. And that means on Sunday, we might not be able to do Prof's session as planned because I'll be flying in from Dallas that Sunday. So we might do a pre-recorded session for next Sunday so that I can put it up Sunday next week for Prof session. But tomorrow, Prof will be here as usual, same time, that is 8 p.m. Kenyan time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States. He's coming to share the word of God. We love it, don't we, when he's around? He will be here speaking with us again tomorrow. We want to just hear what he has to tell us. I love feeding that spiritual nourishment that he gives, man. I want to just hear what he has in store for us. He never shares anything with me. I get to hear, most of the times I get to hear what he's going to speak about with you guys. So there's my story, end of my story. Again, part 2. There's part 3. I only hope and hoped that the honeymoon would last forever. It did not last forever. Let's catch up with part 3 next Saturday. I'll be live in Dallas, Texas. See you then. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Yes, it is. Thank you, Phil. Thank you for tuning in, Phil. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you. Yes, Sheila, thank you so much. We'll link up next Saturday. My part 3, I'll be in Dallas. Tomorrow, Prof will be here, of course, with me for the Sunday sermon. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Kenyan time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in Florida. Love you. Bye-bye. Thanks. Bye.